So here we go, finally. Now you can already see it's been completed, but this is the video to end the saga, which was not captured on video at all. But if you look through my Facebook posts, you can see it. If I put this on video, then you can't, but oh well, too bad for you. So essentially, let's step back a bit here. I bought this trailer on the old Craig's McGee for a price that was relatively reasonable. I knew it needed new tires. I have new tires on it. But when I got it home, as you can see, the driveway's kind of got a slope here. So this wheel was actually off the ground, and I jimbled it around, and it was flopping all over the place. So it's like, well, that's no good. So I lifted the trailer, here with the jack. It's not attached to the truck anymore, but I lifted it with the jack. And then I've got a jack stand over there, and there was a jack stand over here, but it melted into the ice. So I moved it up here and put the jack under there to make sure it wasn't going to fall down. And I jimbled the other tires, and they don't wobble around. Like, you can grab this, and it's got a little bit of wobble in it, but like very little. Probably can't see it too much because my body is moving with the thing, but it's very minimal. This one, on the other hand, like I said, was jimbling all around. So I knew I needed to replace it. So it has disc brakes. Here's the caliper. Oh, I do have the light on. Okay, that's fine. So the caliper has the caliper pins with like an 8mm Allen thing in them. The thing is they're like that far away from the back of the trailer, so you can only fit your traditional these type of Allens in there. And because they were so rusty, I could barely get it in there. So that I had to wedge in and then use that chisel to push it farther into the bolt. And then the second one is lower, it's below the frame rail, so I was able to get this on it, hammer that on there, and then take it off. Those came off. Bolts are the pins are a little bit messed up now, but they'll be fine to go back in, and hopefully they won't be sitting so long the next time they come off, so I won't have to worry about that. So then the second thing was the rotor. So here's the good old rotor, and as you can see, it's all rusty because the brakes don't work. I don't know why they don't, but they don't. It's got like an emergency cable where if the trailer comes detached, it pulls a thing that should activate all the brakes, but it's also got the rod in there that's supposed to push in when you brake when the trailer rolls forward. And I don't know if maybe it doesn't work because I didn't brake hard enough and the trailer was empty or what, I don't know, but the brakes aren't working. Good thing is the first thing I'm towing with this is really light. It weighs less than the trailer does, so it shouldn't be a big problem. But that's not really on the subject, so we'll move on. So this thing, you had a couple of these little wheel clips on there, or not wheel clips, whatever you want to call them, rotor clips, I guess. So I popped those off. This rotor would not come off, no matter what. As you can see, I've got an entire arsenal out here. We've got the old Orange Boy, which you can see has a giant crack in it. This chunk here is actually separated from the hammer now. So that broke. That one was already broken from the last rotor debacle we had. You can see the one end is completely blown off it. I bought a 5-ton puller from Harbor Freight because someone in a video on YouTube said, oh yeah, this thing works. And then I went to the thing on Harbor Freight, and every review I read was, yeah, I bought this to pull a rotor off my car or off my truck, and it worked great. So I bought one, it didn't work. Let's see, so then I bought this good old map torch boy. I got the hottest one that Home Depot had, which was the TS8000, and that was like 55 bucks. Should probably put that back on lock mode since I'm not, well, actually here, let's give it the old flame-o. There you go. Put some fire in the video for, so we got that. Heated that stupid rotor up for probably a good 20 minutes. There were a couple of little pops and cracks, so I think it did something, but it wasn't enough on its own. I got the 10-pound sledge out. Absolute last ditch effort, because I knew if I hit the thing hard enough it would probably break, right? But it didn't break. As you can see, there's a few little, scratches and impact marks in the rotor, but it's not cracked anywhere. It's not really damaged at all. It's got, it's got some marks in it, but I might just throw it back on there since the brakes don't work anyway. But I probably won't, because I ordered a new rotor. So as long as the new rotor fits, I'll probably just put the new rotor on and throw that thing away. But either way, that rotor is like barely damaged. It's like I didn't even do anything to it. So I made a post and I said, hey, what the heck should I do? And people, recommended the heat, recommended big hammers, blah, blah, blah. And then someone was like, well, if you have this much trouble with the rotor, the hub is going to be just as bad, if not worse. And I was afraid they'd be right, and luckily they weren't. The annoying thing is, as you can... Oh, did they? They did, didn't they? They gave you an access hole. So I probably could have used a socket on these. Well, I'm stupid. Anyway, I ended up just using this good old wrench right here. I used that end, not the ratcheting end, because I didn't want to break the ratcheting end. So pretty much I heated up each bolt for about a good minute, put the wrench on there, turned it, started turning with for a rusty bolt, very little effort. So got all 4 bolts off, and then I just whacked it with the 10-pound sledge like 3 times and just flew off. So, yeah, that's done. And unfortunately, I think now that it's off the trailer, yeah, I can't really illustrate how floppy it was, but you can hear that. That's not what a bearing is supposed to sound like. Here, let me see if I can stabilize this part with my foot. You can kind of see my hand is moving around. There you go. It's wobbly. It's very wobbly. It's not good. So that thing is shot. And then when I knocked off with the sledgehammer, the caliper bracket fell off. It didn't break off. It just fell off. So that came off on its own. So I'll probably clean this surface up. That way, when I get the new bearing, hub, whatever, it can go back on here. Put anti-seize on it before I put the rotor on it. Put anti-seize on everything else. And then that'll be good. And then eventually I will find out what's wrong with the brakes. I don't really want to mess with it right now, because then if I get them to apply and I can't get them to release, then the trailer's going to be stuck here again. And every 5 days I don't pick up the thing from Baltimore, it's going to cost me money. Not a lot of money, but money. So if it doesn't feel like I need the brakes right now, and I did have to stop reasonably hard at one point on the way home from buying it, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I'll give myself some extra following distance and whatever, and it should be fine. But point is, it's off of there. It's done. 3 days later, several hours of wailing on this thing, and it's done. It's fixed. I don't have to do anything. And if you noticed, the caliper sitting there, and you think it's not attached to anything, it's sitting on that drain pan. There is no stress on this tube. The tube is fine. The only stressful thing about it is the bend in it there, if anything, and it did that on its own. So it should be fine. So that's it. It's done. This video is 10 minutes long, and I don't know why, but for people who wanted to see what happened, you knew the answer in the first 5 seconds of the video, and then you could have just quit watching it. So there you go. It's done. Should be good. And also, if you're wondering, no one probably cares, but I did buy brand new straps for this. The old ones were, mossy and old and gross, so I got new toe dolly straps to go over the wheel for this. So that should be safe. Whatever, no one's gonna die. Okay? Okay, bye.